Hello people, welcome to my channel. My name is Hilary and today I will be talking about Sleeping Beauty stories. So for the last month or a little bit more, I have been reading 4 different Sleeping Beauty retellings, and I also have read the original story from the Brothers Grimm from my collection sometimes last year, and I'm just going to give a brief overview of my opinions of those books and also are Sleeping Beauty retellings even any good. So the original story is from different authors. I'm going by the Brothers Grimm version, where there was a princess that got pricked by a spindle that was cursed by an evil wise woman that was mad at her for some reason, I can't remember what, and she fell asleep. And a good wise woman felt sorry for her that she has to wake up all by herself and put all the town or the castle to sleep. And she is woken some years later by a prince with a kiss. So if you go a little bit darker stories, then there is also the story version where when she is sleeping, dude rapes her and gets her pregnant, and that wakes her up, or she gets a child and that breaks her finger, and so on. So there are very different versions and it can get quite dark. However, if we take this as a story itself, there isn't much in it, because for most part, the main character, who is the princess, will break her finger, fall asleep, and then wake up. So there isn't a lot to go through from her perspective. So I did read the first 2 books where from the main character point of view. The first one was Splendor Splinter by Alix Harrow. That is quite well-known author and most people love it. And I do have to say most people love that story. It's a very short, about a little bit over 100 pages if I remember correctly. And where this was our main character, she has an incurable disease. It's kind of dystopian, our world, and she will die. Nobody has lived longer than basically she has. She knows she is getting to her limit. And I can't exactly remember, but she goes, by some magic, she goes into another world where there is also a Sleeping Beauty. So it's a story within a story, and there's technically 2 Sleeping Beauties. And through that, she does figure out that there is a way to save her, and I think the story will continue in the second book, where she will try to find her cure. My personal opinion on that book was that I don't know why everybody is liking it, because I know it didn't take itself very seriously, and that is one of the reasons why everybody is loving it, but I think it took it too far. It read like a very, very bad fan fiction. There were so many cultural references just thrown in because it's our world, you know that, and I think it went a little bit too far and I didn't enjoy it, but the general consensus is everybody's loving it as far as I've seen. I've not seen anybody who didn't like it like me. So we have that, and as I said, there isn't a lot of plot or depth into that. The second book that I read was called Briar Rose. That is another name used for Sleeping Beauty stories. And that was written by Jana, if I'm 100% correct. And that also is very similar. We have the Sleeping Beauty, and then she goes into a magical world where there is another Sleeping Beauty. So they feel the general premise is very similar, although I think the Briar Rose was done so much better, but it's also a lengthier book. I think that was 450 pages or so. And there actually the main character wasn't cursed, but she got the curse by accident, and she is put to sleep so she can maybe fight the curse. And in the sleep, she goes inside her mind, or it's a magical world, I'm not sure. And it's a very interesting world. Basically, we are departed into the Sleeping Beauty story. However, everything isn't as it seems. So there is a regent, the Sleeping Beauty is sleeping in that story, and we have a regent who is governing instead of her, and there are some monsters attacking, and she kills some people at some point, especially people that doesn't like, and looks like she doesn't want the Sleeping Beauty to be kissed, because everybody who goes into the castle kind of disappears in most cases. So we have a really interesting story with a lot of different and interesting characters, and the main character trying to find her Prince Charming. And I really enjoyed that story. I think if we go for the Sleeping Beauty point of view for a story, I think that might hit that spot. Then for the third book got a little bit a different point of view. We still, the main character is the Sleeping Beauty. However, we are dealing with the aftermath after she has woken up. And for that, I read The Princess of Shadows by A.G. Marshall. And in this story, we have the main character who, she was put into sleep by herself. She acts as a seal to seal away some evil goblins that wanted to kill everybody, and she, now hundreds of years have passed, and she wakes up and she discovers that some of the goblins are also waking up. So she will do anything that is in her, that is possible, to make sure that the country is prepared for the goblin attack. However, the magic has been lost to that world. Nobody knows or uses magic, or if somebody is, they use it very lowly, they have no proper training and so on. So what she does is try to talk to the king and the prince about it. However, they're not very easily getting close to. However, by lucky chance, the prince is having a bachelor moment, so a lot of princesses are coming, and he's gonna have some dates and events and trials with them, and then he will pick his one true love who he will marry. So our main character, who is not a princess, will fake being a princess and be in those trials and try to make everybody believe that the goblin's threat is real. And it's such a humorous, funny book. I think Sleeping Beauty / Bachelor tagline is perfect for it. However, it is advertised as Princess on the Pea retelling, because the Sleeping Beauty aspect is the after story, and there is that moment where she sleeps on lots of mattresses, there is a pea under it, so that does go there, so it has two retellings. And honestly, I absolutely love that book. If we take a book that doesn't take itself seriously, then I like this one with good humor so much more than the Splendor Splintered with really bad fanfiction feelings. There were goats, there were funny one-liners. For example, I think she acted as a spy or something, and for a council, and she goes next to the council members and says her password, but the password was like, I am a goat, or something like that, which is quite self-ridiculous, and I absolutely love that story. I have actually read one more retelling, or at least part of it, that had a similar premise that we had the Sleeping Beauty aftermath story. However, that is where the similarities end, so I did read the Anne Rice's claiming of Sleeping Beauty, I think it was called, that was written by a pseudonym because it's erotica, and if I remember correctly, because I read it 5 years ago and I didn't finish it, there was the Sleeping Beauty. She was woken by, I'm pretty sure it wasn't a kiss, and then she is sent off to this castle where the princesses learn how to please a princess or kings, and I do remember she walking around naked to get to that castle. That's all I remember, but I should probably pick it up and see what it is. I think it has more than one book in the series. So as far as this, I think the Sleeping Beauty, who's there? Sleeping Beauty retellings, there are some ways, but also you can get the story out of it, but I'm not sure how well it actually works or how good of a story you get could get, like serious story you could get out of it. However, for the last point of view, last book I read was from a different point of view, and that was from the evil fairy or wise woman or whatever, and that is called Malice by Heather Walters. I just finished it last night. I read it for 29 days. I audiobooked it, and I am very in between with that book. I know it's good. I know it has all the points that I should love it. However, me personally, I just didn't care about the storyline, although the last 10 minutes of the book got really exciting. But I do see other people loving it, and I don't know, maybe it was me audiobooking it, or maybe it's my health issues and it didn't click because of that. I don't know, but I know in theory it should be the best book of this bunch, although it maybe didn't get those stars from me. So what is this about? This is a little bit different world where there were different magical creatures, and Queen's line was cursed, so each of the queen will get only daughters, the ruler of that country, and each of the daughters will die on their 21st birthday unless they find their true love through a kiss, and they have some sort of tattoo that shows. And a lot of people, and we have the last princess there, and in that also a previous king or a queen made a deal with some of the magical creatures that they could get some magic. However, the Fae, I'm guessing I'm calling them, are a little bit trickster, and they made sure that the king didn't get the magic, but random people throughout the country get it. And they usually use their blood and mix it with some herbs to make potions that usually make people prettier, better singers, fix their blemishes, and so on and so on. However, we have the main character who's a little bit different. She looks different. She has dark green veins on her, and she's called the Dark Grace, which means that her blood acts as differently. So while the others can do everything prettier, she can make them uglier. I lost the last clip of the video, so I'm here just to give final conclusions on the Malice book and then my overall opinions. So what I wanted to talk about more was that the whole book of Malice is from Malice's point of view, and we see her evolve throughout the book. She isn't a particularly evil person or even a mean person, but life gets in her way. A lot of people treat her really, really badly, and she starts to have a little bit of a mean streak where she wants others to feel a little bit the same as she does, and just to give it a little back, especially all the bad things that everybody else does to her. And we see her evolve into more and more great character throughout the book. We also see her friendship with Aurora and everybody else and some other creatures that she encounters, and we see how all of those characters change her. And as I said before, I think I really loved the ending of the book. We saw the change throughout the book of her so drastically if you compare the beginning and the end, and I'm really actually excited about the book too. And as I think I said before also, I think this is the most well done retelling of The Sleeping Beauty, and I would definitely recommend reading it. I think it's a very complex and interesting story. I think I had the problem of me not just enjoying it because I've been feeling tired and so on, but honestly, I do recommend reading Malice by Heather Walters if you want to read any of the Sleeping Beauty retellings. But I think that's about it for now. I do hope you enjoyed this video, and bye!